if you are a class 10 student, listen carefully. Letter writing looks easy, right? But every year, most students lose marks in writing letter because of the wrong format, or they use informal language, or they get too emotional while writing the letter, okay? So we do not want to do those mistakes. Here are the top 10 letter writing hacks that every student must know before attempting to write the letter in your upcoming board exams, okay? So are you prepared? Hack number 1 is format. Format is non-negotiable for a letter. Letters have a defined format, okay? If you write in the correct format, you are gonna score full marks. That is 5 marks per letter, right? Now what is that format, my dear students? So you start with the sender's address, then you leave some space, then you write the date, right? Then you leave some space, and then you write the receiver's designation and address, followed by the subject. Yes, after that leave some space, little aligned spacing there, and then you start with the salutation, and after that your paragraph, and then you end with thank you and the, again, your full name, yours truly, whatever your name is, or the name that is given in the question itself. Remember this format. See, 2 things are there. Everything is written on the left side, right? And there is proper spacing. There is a sequence. Firstly, you write the sender's address, then you write the date, then you write the subject. Then you write the receiver's address, right? And then you write the subject. After subject, you write the salutation. After writing the salutation, you write the paragraph, and then you end with a thank you and yours truly or yours sincerely, okay? That is the format. Cram it in your head. Never deviate from this format, okay? Even if you do not have this much content to write, but always if you follow the format, you are gonna score extra marks, my dear students. Now the hack number 2 is always write a clear subject line. So what most students do, they know how to write a letter, but they sometimes what they do, they write too big of a subject line. Their subject line consists of everything that is written there. It should be very first, these 3 things should be there. Your subject line should be clear, short and to the point, so that it whenever anyone, your examiner who is checking your letter, right, examiner, right, as soon as they look at your subject, they know what you are talking about, what this letter is about, okay? Because they have only the answer sheet in front of them to know your level of knowledge. Hack number 3, use simple and formal language. Most of my students have asked me that what kind of language we should use, ma'am. We do not know the fancy words. We are not Sashi Tharoor. Sorry, sir. But the thing is, you do not need to write heavy, big words or fancy words, right? What you can write simple formal English. Remember, the letter writing in CBSE class 10 syllabus is formal letter writing. They do not ask you to write informal letter. So your language should always be simple and formal, okay? For example, I want to complain. Why you want to complain? You don't want to write wanna, okay? It's a short form, right? You would say, instead of this, you would say, I would like to draw your attention. Okay, next, kids are facing issues. Instead of kids, you use the word students. That is more formal. They are facing difficulties. Again, your vocabulary need not to be too great, okay? It should be simple and it should be clear, okay? Whatever you were trying to convey should be easily understandable by the examiner, because who you're trying to show your letter to or your answer to? The examiner, okay? Hack number 4, which is the 3-paragraph body rule. When I was talking about the format, there I mentioned the paragraph, right? After the salutation, you write the paragraph. Now, in the paragraph, you have to write 3 paragraphs. First, body. The paragraph should have an introduction, then a body, and then a conclusion. The first part is introduction, second part is called body, third paragraph is called the conclusion. Now, what do you mean by, what do you write in these paragraphs? In the body, you write the purpose of you, why are you writing the letter, what is the purpose of you writing that letter, right? Second gives the details of the event that you are talking about, the event that you want to draw the attention of people to. And the next should have a conclusion. The last paragraph have the conclusion of summarizing everything, and you give a conclusion by yourself, right? What you want to say to the editor or to anyone, okay? Wherever you are writing that letter, whoever you are writing that letter to, okay? Next hack is stay within the word limit. What most students do, they write like a story, right? We have a prescribed word limit for letter writing, that is 100 to 120 words. If you write less than that, you are going to lose marks. You're not going to score full marks in that. But if you write more than that, you're not going to get the extra marks also. You're not going to get the extra marks. It will waste your time, waste your energy, and which could have been spent in the on next question or the next section, right? So do not do that mistake. What you should do, write in the prescribed word limit, 100 to 120 words. Do not write it too short and do not write it too long also, okay? Hack number 6 is maintaining a polite tone. Yes, even if whenever you're writing a letter, majorly in letter to editor, when you're complaining about something, about an issue lying in your locality, in your neighborhood, right? So your tone must always be polite, right? If you are polite, your examiner will see it. Obviously, if you have the aggressive, angry tone, it is going to make you lose marks, my dear students. So your tone must be polite. For that, you use the words I request you to, respected sir, right? Kindly look in the matter, kindly, right? Great. I shall be grateful if you revert back, right? So if you use words like this, grateful, kindly, request, they set a polite tone to your letter, right? And the examiner is looking for the polite tone, right? In the end, they're looking for a polite tone. So if you do not have that tone, you're constantly criticizing in the letter, you are just doing negative, you are going to lose marks. So do not do that mistake, my dear students. Hack number 7 is avoid storytelling. You are writing a letter, not an essay, right? If you write too much, as if you get emotional, some topic is very close to your heart, I know that. And if you want to write about it, write it in an essay, right? Not in letter. In letter, you need to be clear, concise, and neutral actually. You do not need to be too positive or too negative about any situation. You give a conclusion, you give a neutral conclusion, or positive, neutral to positive conclusion, okay? We'll discuss that later, but do not write long emotional stories in your letters, because that's not what examiner is looking for. They're looking for a clear, concise message, and if you repeat the same points again and again, obviously examiner is going to see and you're going to lose marks. So do not do that, my dear students. Hack number 8 is end with a correct closing. That means when you end it, so you write either yours truly, yours sincerely, or faithfully, but most students do not know when do we use it. So when the receiver's name is known, when you know the receiver, okay, when you're writing to someone and you know the receiver, so you write yours sincerely. But when you don't know the receiver who you're writing the letter to, who you are addressing the letter to, right, you write yours faithfully, right? That is the difference. And hack number 9, which is presentation. Yes, how do you write your letter? The format is important, but if you scribble it down, if you do overwriting, if you do not do the proper spacing as I have told you, you are going to lose marks. By paper presentation, I'm not saying you should have good handwriting, but you should have a neat handwriting, so that examiner can see what words you have written, what alphabets you have written, what you are trying to say, okay? That should be clear to the examiner. They should be able to understand it, okay? And yeah, so always maintain a neat handwriting, do proper spacing, and there should be no overwriting or cutting, because you are not allowed to use whitener there, and if you cut anything, it's clearly visible, okay? It will be clearly visible to the examiner, and that will not leave a good impression, and it is gonna make you lose some marks. Hack number 10, which is practice only these 4 letter types: complaint letter, inquiry letter, letter to editor, or quotation letters, right? So when you are asking for the quotation, placing an order, so when you are placing an order asking for a quotation, so they comes on the inquiry letter category only, okay? So these 4 type of letter are majorly asked. Among them, letter to editor is the one which is asked almost every year, so focus on this. And then again, complaint letter, maintain a neutral tone, do not go too negative or too positive about any situation. Now there are some pro tips also. Whenever you're writing a letter, there are some universal sentences that you can use. For example, you can write, I am writing this letter to bring to your attention. Respected sir, I am writing this letter to bring to your attention. I request you to take necessary action. And end it, I shall be highly grateful to you, right? It is polite, it is universal, it works in every letter, right? Every type of letter. Okay. And that was all. If you have any doubts, do mention them in the comments. Any other hacks you want me to make, and take care. All the best.